Welcome to Zandvoort for the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge.
30 minutes. The track temp is 19. The air temp is 18 Celsius.
Sounds like perfect conditions to go racing to me.
Follow car number 06 in the left column.
So, as you heard, we now need to follow car number 06 for the rolling start. So, this is Zandvoort, and this is my first race in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, where it's an open setup race, and it is actually multi-class. We have the GT4s and the TCRs on track. I don't think I end up seeing the TCRs, but they are on here nonetheless. Now, this is a tricky track. I have struggled with it. I've tried to put in as many practice laps as I can, but I figured it was just time to get out and race and just see how I fared against the rest of the likely grid. The strength of field is 1.2k, so it's higher than I normally race against. I tend to often be lumped in with a strength of field that's around sort of 800 to 900, so there's going to be a couple of good guys on the track with me today, so hopefully we'll have some good racing. Now, as we go around the track here, I'll kind of talk about different things. The section we've just gone through at the moment, T1, 2 and 3, T1's okay, I'm pretty happy with that. But T3, the sharp lefter there, I'm kind of not very good at, especially on the exit, so you'll see me struggle with that. Then we have this run here, which is going to be flat out. We skip these two curbs on the right hand side, and then as we go over this crest, the track bears away to the right. We want to be to the left and just get on the brakes a little bit, and then we've got this long, fast right-hander. The idea is to try and get on the power when we pass those traffic lights and stick close to this curb right here, and we should wash out slightly to the left-hand side where we have a slight kink in the track, and then we're going to have a sort of right-hander where we need to try and clip this curb as much as possible, and this is another section of the track that I struggle with a little bit to get exactly right, but if you do get it right, you get a nice bit of speed out here where the track continues to flow to the right, and then we have a harder braking zone here, cut to this tight right-hander, and then head on out towards the left, then quickly try and cut back to the right here, roughly where the pace car is right now, and then back into the left for another slow left-hander. And again, this is a tricky corner, but very important, because again, on the exit here, you've got a bit of a run, and so a good exit from that left-hander there will mean you get as much speed as possible into this section. And just shortly over this crest, there'll be a curb on the left. We need to brake somewhere near that. It's just coming into view now. There it is, just past the pace car now. And brake down, and then we've got this very, very tricky chicane. So we go right and then immediately left. We need to hug the inside curb, which is out of view at the moment. And again, very important, the exit here can make all the difference. And then it's really just a bit of a touch on the brakes, a bit of finesse needed just to kind of take this right-hander here, where we then ride the curb and then try and get on the power as early as possible and just keep the car under control while we go flat, 4th and 5th gear, right on the limit as we then end up on the final straight. And that's basically it, but it is a very technical track in that regard, and I'm not quite there yet, but I think I've got enough pace to kind of do okay. So we're about to start the race. So the strategy is the same as before: positive safety rating, positive I rating, keep the car intact. And as the lights go here, unfortunately, Karol Ruzewicz has a terrible start. We're just caught behind him. That means we have to let Niels Herring through on the right, so we don't defend against that, but we cut right in behind him now, and then we stay close to the apex here. But annoyingly, Karol just cuts right across us, and we have contact. It sends him off, unfortunately. We'll see that incident later. I'm not going to worry about it now. Let's just focus on what we're doing, so try and catch up with these two. So again, just fighting the cold tyres, and then the first of the challenging corners. We're okay. I get on the power very late here, but just to try and avoid losing the back end. I'm a little bit shook up from the contact, and I'm just trying to, you know, keep it together and just settle into a rhythm. So first of the fast section. I brake a little bit heavier here, and I'm a little bit later on the power here, just again to keep the car under control with the cold tyres. We seem to be maintaining the gap behind us. There's that right-hander with the clip over the curb. We take that okay. Stay on the power. The two at the front, Philip and Niels, are having a nice sort of little battle, so we're just going to try and keep up with those guys. The challenging left-hander, which we seem to do okay here. The car does slip a little bit there, but it's fine. And we're keeping up with these guys, and we're forming a gap behind us. So I'm happy with this. This seems good so far. And then the tough chicane. Now the car slips a lot here, so I have to switch down to second just to help stop the car. And it does get those guys behind us, Kerr and Paolo and Raphael, right up behind us. So we did lose a bit of time there, but we're still in the position, we're still in control, so just focus on a good exit here, get on the power, lift a little bit, and then look at that.
Looks like P2's
Philip's gone.
Lyondike.
Gifted us P2, so fantastic news. Now we just need to catch up with Niels, which we seem to be doing, so he obviously lost a bit of time there, and whatever happened to.
Really good. Come on, keep your focus.
So T1 doing okay there, we get a good exit. And then into this flowing section here, I let off and I get on the power nice and late there, but we're doing very well here to keep up with Niels. On the power at a good point, nice exit there, so the fact that we managed to keep it together for those corners keeps us behind Niels. And we go through the fast section here. Gaps formed back behind us again, so it's just me and Niels now that I need to think about. A little bit late on the power there, and Niels does slightly get ahead of us, away from us a bit there. He takes a wider entry there, but we're still okay. And then we come down to this braking zone here. Again, he's taken a wider line, which is fine. I have to take a wider exit, and then he cuts across it, and then he loses the back end. I can't believe it, so I quickly nip around him.
Looks like P1 has gone off.
To make it even worse, Kerr manages to hit him as well, but he seems okay. He's not taken off the track, and we're P1. So I need to hold it together for this tricky chicane. Last time we didn't do it very well, but this time much better. Hold it together, and that'll do, that'll do. And Kerr seems to have lost it as well behind us. So now we've got a second or so gap to those behind us. And let's just nail this final corner. Pretty much flat all the way through there. Wonderful stuff. Quick breather at the end of lap 2 there. So we're going to brake at the 100 board pretty much.
You're now in the lead.
Down into third.
That was a 146.00.
And just keep it nice and tight through here. Good exit. Now at this stage of the race, I'm just concentrating on being consistent but fast. I have to drop to third there because I was a little bit fast and I missed the apex here completely, so I just get on the power a little bit later on the exit. A fast section here, bit of a breather. All I concentrate on doing here is just trying to minimise the amount I slip the car. And then over the crest here, get on the brakes, get the car in. I touched the grass there, so I have to let back off the throttle there, which loses me a little bit of time. And the car's still slipping a little bit, but we do make the curb there. Now behind us, Paolo is able to keep up with us. If not, he's gaining on us a little bit, so I am aware of this. I'm just trying to, again, that was a better effort on that corner.
Has now decreased to 1.3.
But I'm very aware that I'm, especially with Jim reminding me that the gap's decreasing, although we seem to manage to make another half second on him there somehow, so if he keeps making little mistakes and I keep consistent, I can hold him off, I think. And that's basically the plan. There's a huge gap between Paolo and Antoine in third, so it's really only me and Paolo that I need to think about now. So, again, just try to get this fast final turn right without drifting too far wide. Wonderful stuff, and that's lap 3. So, as we enter lap 4, I'm feeling pretty confident.
That was 144.16.
So, I'm trying to keep the times within in the low 44s, ideally into the 43s if I can. So that was a good lap. I've only got 4 incident points, which are annoying, but if I can keep that there, we should be in for a good safety rating. And I've got a 2-second gap to Paolo behind. Then it's, you know, a good gap of 5 or so seconds to Antoine behind him. Everything's looking good. I'm just trying to keep a good consistency up now. That's the main thing. But I am aware that Paolo has clearly got some pace if he can stop making mistakes. So as we enter the tricky section here, looking behind us, Paolo goes off, and
I think P2's binned it in Chevlac.
Jim confirms it there, so that's even better. Fantastic. So now we've got a huge 8-second gap to Antoine behind. We're laughing. It's in the bag, is what I would think. So I'm very happy. Now, the trick is, of course, not to relax too much. I don't want to let off the gas and allow people to catch up. So I do try and keep the pace up. If you look at the bottom right of my dashboard, I have the lap delta down there. So I'm just trying to keep that as low as possible in the red, or ideally as high as possible in the green. Like I say, I'm aiming for low 144s or into the 43s. If I can just do those lap times, then I should be okay. And if someone is that much faster than me, then catch up with me, then so be it.
You've just done a 144.43.
So that's a little bit slower than I'd like, but as you can see, I'm still maintaining that 8-9 second gap to Antoine, and that's all I'm looking at here is just a little bit shaky through that section there, but all I'm looking at doing is extending that gap or maintaining it, and if that means I drive at the same pace.
Fastest lap for Gomez, 143.69.
So that announcement from Jim lets me know that there are some people on track that are driving much faster than me, and that actually makes me have a little look down at my relative at this point in the race, and I notice that actually Karol Rusewicz is again up into the top spots. He's fought his way back. Antoine is no longer in second, he's in third, and Niels is right up behind him as well. So I've realised that the two leaders, the P1 and P2 at the start of the race, have managed to fight their way back after their accidents and are now herring back up the field towards me. And now I realise that I've got a bigger challenge in this race.
The gap's now 9.6.
There we go. Jim confirms it, that in actual fact I'm driving slower than Karol, and I need to actually put the pace on, which actually gets me a little bit nervous. The main reason being is that I'm not brilliant at this circuit. I keep making little tiny mistakes, and if somebody is much more consistent and a higher and faster than me with better pace, then I will struggle, and probably with pressure as well. So as I get a good exit here on the final turn and we enter lap 6, I'm just now very, very conscious. I can see that Niels is now in P3, so it's all to fight for.
Your lap time was 144.40.
Again, 144.4, it's okay, but it's clearly not good enough. And as the deltas are going to pop up in just a moment on the top left of the screen, you can see I've lost half a second to Karol. Thankfully, I'm 7/10 faster than Niels, but obviously Karol is driving much faster than me, so I'm trying to drive as fast as I can now, whilst looking at that gap in the relative whenever I get the chance. And I'm very mindful of my own lap delta. I can see that I'm 2.5 tenths down already at this early stage of the lap, so I try and get a nice early amount of power here through that right-hander. A good brake here, wide entry, but I slip and miss the apex there and lose a little bit of time. I'll try and get a good brake down here, and again I miss the apex a little bit, and I'm losing time all the way through. I've lost another 2.5 tenths, and I do a little bit better there, but I still miss the apex. Try and get a better exit, but again I've lost another 1.5 tenths, and I'm just losing time everywhere. And at this stage I'm not sure how I'm going to keep Karol behind me. As you can see, he's now 8.5 seconds or so. He's already made up on me, so I'm starting to panic, if I'm honest. So I get on the power a bit earlier there and try and aim for a better exit through this flowing final fast right-hander, and that seems to be good, but not enough to pull back any time. We're 7/10 slower than our best there, and yeah, not ideal.
That lap time was 1:44.81.
So just waiting for the deltas of that lap to come up, and as you can see, I lost another half second to Carroll and nearly a second to Niels that lap. That was a terrible lap. Even if I'd raced my best, that wouldn't have been enough to hold them off. But looking at my delta after that turn there, I'm actually up by 2.5 tenths. So I'm actually feeling pretty confident I can make some of that back. So I've got my game face on for this lap. Again, try and get a nice early on the power at the traffic light there. Flow out to the curb, cut the grass, brake on the line. Around the right, I actually hit the curb that time, fantastic. Get on the outside of the track here. Brake, cut in on the apex, brake, nice, and power out through the corner. Get over to the right, brake, let it flow around to the left, get it on the curb, on the power nice and early. And as you can see, the delta comes into view. I'm 6.5 tenths up. This lap is going great. Just past the line between the line and the curb, get on the brakes hard, trail into the first apex of the chicane, then hug round here at the orange mark, get on the throttle, watch the bumps on the exit. 7.5 tenths. Brake on the 50, trail in, keep it on the curb, power out when we're feeling the car can take it, and then just power through. We lost a little bit of time on that final corner, but not enough to put us into negative. We're half a second up that lap on our best, so we are feeling very good about life at that stage.
That lap was a 1:43.64. You're 2 tenths off the pace in sector 3.
So as you can see, that was my best time, and it's actually beaten my personal best as well, so I was very happy about that. And I look at the deltas, there we go, fantastic. I made 6 tenths up on Carroll, and we've kept Niels at bay that lap, so if I can keep that level of pace up, I'll be alright.
9.6 seconds.
And looking at my delta, I can see that that's going to be very difficult. I'm already nearly 3 tenths down this early stage of the lap, and I quickly come to the realisation that that may have just been a fluke, and actually keeping that pace up is going to be very, very difficult. And at this stage I consign myself to the fact that I'm probably not going to stop them catching up with me. It's not a matter of if, it's likely a matter of when. And if I can just keep that length of time as long as possible, that's as best as I can do, and then just hope that I can drive hard and defend well if they do get up behind me. So again, this lap's falling apart compared to the last one. We're nearly 8 tenths down, so all the gaps I made up in the last lap are being lost. Jim reminds me I'm in the lead, which is nice. I nearly forgot. But just trying to nail this difficult circuit, and I just seem that any slight mistake seems to lose huge chunks of time, which is really frustrating when you're not quite sure how you can put it right, or you lack some of the skills like I do. But yeah, we get a terrible last corner there, which I'm having to constantly lift off on. But we've trimmed back some of that time. We're only 6 tenths down on that lap.
That lap was a 1:44.34.
Again, a low 144, but it's not going to be enough. Let's look at the deltas as they pop up on the top left. And yeah, we're 3 tenths down on both Niels and Carroll. So it is what it is, and we're just going to have to hope that 3 tenths a lap. It's going to take them a while to catch up a 9-10 second gap.
Keep it coming, man. This is great. 15 minutes left. That's 15 minutes. You're halfway home. Got plenty of fuel.
So, as Jim mentions fuel there, I actually take a look at the fuel calculator and I realise that the average usage, yeah, I'm fine. I'll finish with 1.9 litres in the tank, but at my hardest driving, I don't have enough to finish the race. And I do question the difference there between the two figures. I mean, the max use is 4.8 litres compared to 2.9 on the average. So, yeah, I start to think, oh no, you know, how am I going to have enough fuel? But then I look at the amount I've used on each lap to the right, and you can see it's only around 2.7. So I'm kind of a bit confused as to whether or not I've got enough fuel to finish the race.
You've just done a 144.28.
You know, this is an open setup race, and fuel is one of those factors. I've not only made my own setup here, but I've also put what I thought was the right amount of fuel in, and I could have got it wrong. And at this stage I'm a little bit concerned, but it's a little bit early to tell, but I definitely have my mind on that, because if I have to start conserving fuel, it's not only a technique I'm not very good at, I don't really know what to do. It's something I can't really afford to do. If I'm trying to keep the guys behind me at bay, then having to start coasting to braking points and things like that is something that's going to cost me lots of time potentially. Thankfully though, that last lap, as you can see on the deltas, we were all pretty even, so I kept them at bay for at least a lap there. And we're on lap 10 of around 18, the relative is calculating here, so as Jim confirmed, we are past the halfway point. But looking at the delta this lap, I'm over a second and a tenth now down, so this is going to be a terrible lap. And Carroll is now within 9 seconds of me, Niels is within 10, and back markers are starting to appear on the relative, so hopefully we don't encounter any.
You've used half your fuel. The car behind is reeling you in. The gap is now 8.7.
So again, you know, with Jim mentioning there that we've used half our fuel, and we've clearly gone past what he thinks is the halfway point of the race, I'm thinking, okay, I should be okay on fuel, should be okay. And I see we use a little bit more fuel.
Lap was a 144.62.
So again, slow lap time, 44.6. But I can see laps 9 and 10 there on the right, I've used 2.8 litres. I'm still below the average, but now the average on the fuel calculator is saying I'm not going to have enough to finish the race. So now I'm really concerned that I don't have enough fuel, and I'm wondering whether or not I should start adapting my driving to try and conserve as much fuel as possible, because hell, if I lose first place, so be it, but as long as I make it to the finish line, I don't want to obviously have the car conk out on me mid-race and end up not finishing at all. So I've got to make it to the end of the race as my first priority. So now the race becomes a balance between trying to conserve fuel where I can and try and stay as fast as I can, whilst making sure that whatever I do is going to at least make sure I finish the race as a bare minimum. So as I get a breather, I have a quick look down. I'm down on time here, 4 tenths, but Carroll is at 9 seconds and Niels is at 9.5. I'm hoping at this stage I can see they're pretty close to each other, and I'm kind of hoping that they're battling, which is holding them up from making gains against me. So I am hoping at this stage they're gapped enough apart that, you know, they're okay. But if those times between them on the relative they get pretty close together, I know they're going to be battling. So as we cross the line to start lap 12, I await to hear what lap time I've got. So a 144.4, and I'm waiting on the deltas just to see, and yeah, I've lost 3 tenths to Carroll, but Niels is 2 tenths, so we're okay. We're okay for now. It's not ideal, you know, but again, if I can hold them off, I'm just praying I can hold them off now to the end of the race. We've got probably about 10 minutes or so left. As I look at the bottom left, and I see we're nearly at 20 minutes completed of a 30-minute race, so I'm kind of confident. I know that I can possibly do this, but it's
10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left.
There we go, 10 minutes left, confirmed, and I'm just sitting there thinking I can do this. I've just got to actually manage to not make any mistakes myself, drive consistently, and pray to God that those guys behind me either make a mistake or just don't suddenly turn on their God mode or something.
The gap behind is now 8.3.
So I'm aware they're closing on me, but it seems to be very slow progress that they're making. So again, I'm feeling quietly confident.
You've just done a 144.28. That's good consistency. Keep it up.
So a slight improvement on my lap time there, into a lower 144. But the guys behind have actually sped up a little bit, and they've trimmed 4/10 off me. So yeah, I again realised that it's not over yet.
That's a new fastest lap for Gomez, 143.08.
And that's a very, very fast lap time, but he doesn't seem to be anywhere near challenging for the top spot. So although he seems to be driving very fast, this Gomez chap, it's not going to bother us. But now I'm just trying to, again, get my head down, get brake points, entrances and exits to every corner as good as I can, and try not to look at my delta too much, but I can't help it sometimes. I do notice I'm doing pretty well this lap. I think I'm only a 10th down. We have a bit of traction control kick in there, but that's fine. We're still just over a 10th down this lap, so this could be a good one. And I do hate the chicane, but we get in okay. Get on the power. I get on the power a little bit late there, but it's okay. We've trimmed a couple of hundredths off there. I'm going to try and get on the power early. We pretty much stay constant through that final turn. I look down at the delta and I see we've actually made a couple of hundredths, so fantastic. There's a good lap there. And that's actually my personal best, 143.56. As you can see, driving my personal best, I managed to keep Carroll at bay, but I do make 1.8 seconds on Neil, so maybe he had a bit of an issue or a mistake himself on that lap. But yeah, so even driving my absolute fastest is barely enough to keep Carroll at bay. So again, we're actually not doing too bad. We're only 200ths down, and as I look at my delta to see that, I notice the flashing on the dashboard, and you can tell by my braking and then throttle work there, I'm actually not concentrating properly, and that's because I've got my eyes on the fuel calculator to the right, and I see that again I'm barely going to have enough fuel to finish. So I'm thinking, is this the fuel alarm? And I need to wait to a straightaway to have enough time to move the dash panel and see if that is the fuel alarm, because something's not right on the dashboard, as you can see.
Got 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
But then Jim says there's 10 minutes of fuel, so surely that's fine, because we've only got just over 5 minutes left. So, but as you can see, I'm all over the place here, and I'm a second down this lap, so kind of everything's going through my mind at the moment, and it's just thrown me off completely.
The gap behind is now 7.8 seconds.
Yeah, that gap's getting smaller and smaller. So as we hit the straightaway now, I consign myself to a terrible lap time, and I look down and I can see it does say fuel low on the dashboard. So I do know that it is the fuel that is the problem.
That lap was a 144.83.
And now it's all going to be about trying to find spots to conserve fuel. So you'll see me lifting off and coasting towards a break point and things like that a little bit more frequently, and I'm kind of having to try and gain some fuel back
That's
where
5
possible.
minutes remaining. P1, come on, bring it home.
Now I'm pretty confident at this stage, with 10-second gap to Neil's, I'm pretty confident that I don't really have to worry too much about him. But Carroll is certainly within striking distance if I do have to conserve fuel. So the fuel calculator is telling me that I'm going to have just under a litre left. The average is now 2.8, which is pretty bang on to what I've been using. As you can see, I've been using 2.7 for the last 3 laps, but I have had a few laps of 2.8. So, and I look here and I can see that the fuel calculator on the iRacing black box is telling me I've got 4.8 laps to go, which looks like I should have enough. 15 of potentially 18 laps, but I just don't know. And then now the fuel calculator jumps up and tells me I'm going to have 3.7 litres left at the finish. So I'm really confused, but I am, as you can see, the gap's now down to 6 seconds. I am just driving a bit slower and just trying to conserve what fuel I can here now. So we're now into the 146s, as you can see, so I can probably string out a couple of laps of this to try and claw some fuel back. As you can just tell the coasting and the slowness I'm going through this corner here. I'm thinking I'll do this for a lap or two, and hopefully that'll give me enough fuel to then get to the end. I don't know, but yeah, it's not looking good.
Dude, you gotta leave a little bit of space there on the inside.
The gap behind is now 5.0 seconds.
So at this stage I'm thinking, okay, we've got around 2 laps left, potentially. The gap's 5 seconds and it's staying, it's only shrinking slowly. Even if I lose 2 seconds a lap, that's probably not going to be enough for him to catch up. So again, and I look at the fuel calculator and it says I'm going to finish with 4 litres, and I just think I'll try and conserve for one more lap, and then I'm just going to gun it on the last one.
2 minutes.
And with 2 minutes to go, I realise that is going to be 2 laps that we're going to be racing here, so I'm going to try and just conserve one here so that I've got at least one lap that I can put the foot down, just to try and keep them at bay if they do make up considerable time on me. But at this stage now I am starting to feel a bit more confident again, and that it could be possible to keep hold of the lead. Bit of a terrible corner there though, so even if I am conserving fuel, that was a terrible corner. If anyone watching this knows any tricks on calculating fuel, so I don't have to rely on this calculator here, because it seems to be very all over the place, or ways of setting it up, or how I should be thinking about it for future races, because yeah, I didn't know whether I had enough fuel or not all the way through this race, and obviously I erred on the side of caution that I don't have enough fuel, and maybe I did the whole time and I've slowed down for no reason, but who knows. But if anyone can shed any light on how better to use a fuel calculator, or if there are any better ones out there, then that'd be great.
Minutes of fuel remaining. 5 minutes.
So I know I've got 1 lap to go, potentially, and I'll wait to see if I see the white flag. And there it is, so I've got 1 lap to go, and Jim's just told me I've got 5 minutes left of fuel. I'm on it, let's go. Let's just try and get a good last lap in.
1 more lap to go, stay focused.
So, 1 more lap to go, I've got a 4-second gap to try and maintain. Shouldn't be too hard, just make sure I don't make any mistakes whatsoever.
The stewards have warned us for cutting the track. Keep it between the white lines.
Took a little bit too much off that one there, so we gained another incident point, but it's okay. 5's not too bad. Very wide there though, so I did have to flick to second just to get the car to slow down a bit more so we didn't drift too wide there. So lost a bit of time, but it's still a reasonable-ish lap. As you can see, looking at the relative, I've managed to maintain that 4-second gap. I can't see that being lost over the next 2 turns, so yeah, we've pretty much guaranteed it. So I just need to make sure I don't come off here and brake a bit later there on the accelerate a bit later on the apex there, and there we go. Final straightaway, and we've done it. P1 in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge on Zandvoort. We'll take it.
Well done, mate. You made them all look silly today.
So yeah, not the cleanest race, not the cleanest driving, I don't know if I'm massively inconsistent. I mean, I'm always around the 144s, but not the best, but it was enough. We were gifted P1. I certainly wouldn't have had it if I was if those 2 guys didn't crash ahead of me, but either way, we were gifted the position and we kept on to it, so I'm pretty happy with that. It was fun. It was a fun drive. The track, whilst I find it challenging and I'm still getting used to the car, it was good fun. It was really, really good fun. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So looking at the incidents now, and the first one will be mine at T1, and as you'll see, I don't get left a lot of room. I'm right up against the apex, and we just make a little bit of contact, just enough to spin him out. It is unfortunate. It is one of those things, but I couldn't really do or go anywhere else. It is what it is, and this guy is part of the collateral as well. What other incidents we got? So the same guy, I think, sliding off into the gravel and onto the tyre wall there. Oh, this guy again, just losing the back end. Not having a good race. And this is Philip losing the back end at the end of that lap, giving us P2. So yeah, he was a bit unlucky there. He was probably kicking himself. Oh, this guy just going far too wide on the final corner. Oh, and losing it nasty. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate. Yeah, and this is Niels losing it in front of me. Losing the back end there. There's Kerr hitting into him as he goes. Ouch. Okay. Alright, okay. Oh, that's a hell of a dive bomb. Go on, then he squeezes the guy. Oh, yeah, you get what you deserve there, mate, I'm afraid. Oh, that was terrible. Never going to make that corner, the Aston there. That's ridiculous. Oh, is that dive bombing BMW, and he loses the back end. Round you go. Oh, and this was, yeah, this is P2 behind me. Loses it there. Oh, unlucky. Oh, with the wheel. Yeah, he was unlucky because he was doing alright behind me there. Oh, no, you hit the grass and you're gone. Yeah, I've done that a few times in practice myself. Well, these two have been having a few incidents. Oh, there's obviously light contact there. I think the beamer just broke in time. Oh, talk about dive bombs. There you go. Have that one. Yeah, I was going to make the apex as long as his car was there to stop me. Stupid, man. Stupid. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate it ended up like that. They obviously clashed wheels. Caused him to ride up. That's a shame. It would have been nice if it's just a little bit of bumping as they go down the straight, but unfortunately their wheels touched, I think. Yeah, that's unlucky. This guy again. Maybe we're out of incidents now. Yeah, I'd say we're out of incidents. Okay, cool. So guys, that's going to do it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any advice or feedback, leave it in the comments below. I'm still kind of getting to grips with how to set these videos up, and let me know if you enjoy them. Also, there is more to come. I've got Porsche Cup at Summit Point, which is very challenging and fun. So that's going to be the next video coming up soon. And I do want to try and get into the IRO4. I did try Brands Hatch, didn't have a great race. The GT4 Aston has 2 series and that I can race, and then there's obviously the Porsche. So that's 3 series I'm trying to race in a week, and it's actually trying to do the Formula 4 on top is proving quite challenging. So that will be the one I'll skip if I have to skip one of them. So hopefully we'll see a race in that car at some point, but at the moment it's I'm just going to focus on the GT4 Aston and the Porsche Cup. So yeah, I've got the Porsche Cup coming up at Summit Point. It's good fun, so that will be up shortly. So guys, again, like and subscribe if you are interested. Just to reiterate before, not doing this super serious, just for a bit of fun, but if you want to be alerted of when I do post something else, then just yeah, give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.